Hey guys, welcome to the video for Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree. My name is Ventus. In this Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree build video guide, I'm going to show you what has to be the most broken build I've ever used in Elden Ring. Since I put this build together, I've been speed running bosses like crazy, absolutely destroying things in ways that I've personally never been able to do before. It all centers around the Bloodfiend's arm. This thing is insane, and if you don't have one yet, I got my first one to drop at Prospect Town in this area where like 7 Bloodfiends are all having a powwow. The second one dropped near Prospect Town in the woods, just fighting a random one while exploring. Alright, so the first things first, before I get into build, just do me a small favor, sub to the channel with notifications on. It really helps the channel to grow. Alright, so to get this build off the ground, you are absolutely 100% going to have to upgrade your Bloodfiend arm to the maximum plus 25. This raises its blood loss buildup by a considerable amount when you give this weapon the blood affinity. Now, let me get this out there really quick. I've seen a dozen builds for this weapon on YouTube, Reddit, Twitter, and some people suggest using the occult affinity for more damage, and they might be right. However, whenever I've tried fighting bosses with the occult affinity, I just don't see better results. But again, I might just be faded, but for the purposes of this video, I have to show you what's been working for me personally, and that's the blood affinity. Alright, so after you max this weapon out to plus 25, you want to use the Ash of War for Endure. The weapon comes with Endure, but give it the Ash of War for Endure anyway, so you can give it that blood affinity. When you do your stats a little bit later and give yourself a high enough arcane, you're going to see a ridiculous number for blood loss buildup. Mine is sitting at 212 at the moment. I've seen others go to 220. Alright, so here the way my stats are allocated right now as of the making of this video. My character is level 259. I have a 60 in vigor. Mind is going to be at 30. Endurance at 63. Strength is sitting at 60. Dexterity at 20. Intelligence at 10. Faith is at 40. And Arcane is at 55. Alright, so I based this build on something that I saw on Reddit, and the Reddit build basically said a lot of health, not so much mind, a lot of endurance, a lot of strength, not so much dexterity, little to no intelligence, a little bit of faith, and a lot of arcane. It was for a 150 build that I looked at, so I just modified it for my stat points. The main thing of that build seemed to be at least 50 in vigor, 50 in endurance, 55 in strength, and arcane. Now, when it comes to talismans, this is where everyone's build seems to differ, and I haven't myself used a one set of talisman fits all boss fights when it comes to talisman, because on some bosses I have to switch it up. But the main two to keep are going to be the two-handed sword talisman and the axe talisman. For most of my boss fights, the other two talisman are usually Dragon Crest Shield plus 2 and Lord of Blood's Exaltation, but on some bosses I have to switch out Lord of Blood's Exaltation for Ritual Sword Talisman or Ritual Shield. I've even used the Bull Goat Talisman in place of Lord of Blood's Exaltation for extra poise. The last boss fight that I did before making this video was versus the Mother of Fingers, and I was getting wrecked for like an hour until I switched back to the Lord of Blood's Exaltation, and the fight literally became the easiest thing in the world. For the mixed wondrous physic, I've seen people say a lot of different combinations, but the one that seemed to work for me the best was the leaden hard tier to boost poise and the spike crack tier to boost charged attack power. I don't know, for whatever reason, stone barb with spiked wasn't working on Horalu, leaden and spike did, so that's the combination that I've just been running with. Now I know on paper it looks like barbed is supposed to work, so maybe I'm faded again and barbed is supposed to work. But I don't know, Leaden Heart just seems to work with me with the spiked crack tier. Now, how I've been using this build is so easy that a literal 4-year-old could do this build. Literally just run right up to any boss, I mean anything in the game right now before they nerf this build. Use the Endure skill on the weapon and then hit the hold heavy attack. Get the whole heavy attack off and hit Endure again and then hit another hold heavy attack. After 2 fully charged heavy attacks, whatever you're fighting should be broken and have taken heavy damage. If 2 times didn't work, go for a third. And if the third doesn't work, then I don't know what to tell you, bro. Everything dies to the third one. Not dies, but they're broken and they're taking like serious amounts of damage. And that's literally it. Now, the only problem that you might run into with this build is stamina. And some people suggesting using the little turtle stamina talisman, which gives you faster talisman like return, which I used a stamina talisman that maxes out stamina once or twice, and that did solve the problem for me, though it didn't do better overall than my current talisman build, because with enough damage and attack power, like any bosses, is put down. Now, you can't just run around doing this only to bosses. Let me just put this out there. You still have to like dodge and take potions, but brother, when I tell you my character's acrobatics with this build have been dropped down by 50%. I just don't need to dodge as much anymore using this build, and it's insane. Oh yeah, and one more thing before I forget, this may or may not matter, but I upgraded to wearing armor with a bit more poise and protection on certain bosses. The Beast Champion armor set for now is my go-to, though a lot of people have been using Radon's. When it comes to incantations, I only really use 4 now: Blessing of the Erdtree, Golden Vow, Protection of the Erdtree, and Flame Grant Me Strength. Try this build out and let me know in the comments if it worked for you, or at the very least put you on the right path that works for you, because I'm sure the builds that I've looked at are ones that work for those people who put those builds out there into the internet, but playstyles being different might influence certain aspects of the build to fit comfort zones. Alright guys, that's going to be it for the video. If it was helpful, you can show me your thanks by giving the video a like. For more, head to my channel and check out my playlist for Elden Ring guides you may have missed. My name is Ventus SG, and thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Peace out.